We are back with another Courtney Ryan video. This time she's talking about 34 women reveal their biggest turn-ons. These are shocking.
Hilarious that this is the first one because I talk about this all the time and so many of you don't believe me, and that is hands. Any kind of hands. They don't even have to be veiny. I like long fingers. To me, that's real.
Oh yeah, why wouldn't that turn on women, right? Me personally, I have really smooth hands. Decently large hands, like not anything larger than normal. But women really like that they're smooth. Some women like really rough hands. Some women like really big hands. Some women, they like, well, women obviously like being held, having their hand held, or anything of them held. And obviously, if you're like me, you do some of your best work with your hands, if you know what I mean. So clear and obvious.
Really hot. Women, look at your hands. This is why I tell you guys to trim your nails, keep them clean. I know some of you guys work, jobs that require getting your hands a little bit dirty. That's okay. That's sexy too to a lot of women. You have a callus? Great. You go to the gym, your hands look a little rough? Great, because you look like a guy who can get things done. Girls like the vascularity. Just love a man with good hands. Next is when someone uses their teeth to tear open a package. Lordy.
Never would have thought of that one. I always found that gross, no matter who's doing it.
Okay, I bet that some of these are going to be, like, you have to be attracted to the person in order for the thing to be sexy, right? In order for it to be a turn on, you have to be attracted to the person. Because just some random guy that you're not attracted to, if he rips something open with his teeth, you're gonna be like, ugh. If I see guys start...
Yeah, that's kind of what I was assuming was women's reaction to that, because it is a little off-putting.
to walk around and randomly just rip things...
But that kind of goes to show the pure randomness of what women are into. That's why I say it doesn't matter if you're bald or fat or ugly or whatever is going on with you, because women are turned on to just such a wide range of things that you're going to hit that spot with something about you will allow for an attraction to build, and it can be something that you don't even know what it is, something weird like what she just said. That's someone's biggest turn on. That is a woman out of 34 women. I don't know how they conducted this data collection, but think about that. That is some woman out there. That is her biggest turn on. That's crazy.
things open with their teeth, I'm gonna know that they either watched this video or read this article. So again, I think that's one of those ones that, like, you have to be physically attracted to the person in order for this to be a sexy thing.
In which case, them like pointing their finger, them, I don't know, twitching their eyebrow is going to be a huge turn on because you're just attracted to the person. So it doesn't matter what they do.
You know what I mean? It's hot when someone knows how to chop veggies really fast and well.
That's insane. Like, like why would that be a turn on? Again, goes to show how like fickle women are, how like any guy can do that. Like, that's so, people have this misconception that like women only care about looks and height and money. It's like, no, they're into some like strange characteristics and specifics.
My eyes are watering because that is so funny. Yeah, that's oddly specific. Maybe this is sexy because we don't really see men cook as much. And so when they do, it's like, oh, a man that can cook and he can chop the veggies. But I know exactly what she's talking about.
Or like if you can just do the laundry or like vacuum, basic cleaning that like is basic human requirements for every person. Simply being able to do that will turn women on. Don't know why. Like, laundry takes about 5 seconds of time. You're literally just dumping one container of stuff into another container of stuff, grabbing a small container, dumping a tiny bit of that into something, and then turning a dial and pressing a button. You're talking about like 2 minutes to do the loading and like 1 minute to unload it. You're talking about 3 minutes of work, maybe like 4 minutes with the transporting the clothes from the hamper to where the machine physically is. So I'd say maximum 5 minutes of work, if you can even call it work. 5 minutes of moving around some of the lightest objects you're going to encounter on a day-to-day basis. It's I don't get how that could turn on anyone ever, but hey, it's a thing.
It's like the way they hold the knife. I cook all the time and I can't master this. I can't do it. So when I see someone else do it, it's like, oh, this reminds me of like someone who can shuffle a deck of cards really well. Like it's something about the way that they're doing it so well with their hands, and it's just a weird thing. Again, some of these really shocked me, but then when you think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, if my husband does that, I'm like, whew. I'm gonna ask him to chop some veggies now.
What she just said, oh, if my husband does that, I'm like, woo. Like that. There are things way outside of the super obscure that we're talking about here. Like really obvious general things that you can do that are like a guaranteed turn on. And that's what the big difference is. I harp on it a lot that men need to do things to make themselves attractive. And a lot of guys get like lost in the weeds of doing that in like a general sense. They think that means just going to the gym and gaining a bit of confidence. No, it's actually all these small little details.
Also, I can see what his chopping veggie skills look like. The next one is a professional
and by that I mean you don't need to go to the gym or become super rich and like work all the time. It's actually by paying attention to the very tiny details and just simply observing what's effective on affecting a woman's like vibe and mood in an interaction will teach you these things. Obviously not the super specific ones here, but some more general ones that are very easy to duplicate and are going to be very effective on the majority of women.
Speaking voice always gets me. I love sharp pronunciation and clear vocals. No matter how you look, if your voice sounds like it's straight from an insurance commercial, I'd lick your bum. Yeah, I think a voice is really important, and I think different people are into different things. Some people like a really deep, raspy voice. Some people like a very deep voice. Some people like a very raspy voice. Some people are attracted to, you know, someone who sounds like they're in an insurance commercial. I mean, the range here is pretty vast.
That can't really be helped. You can't help your voice. Like, I really don't like my voice personally. Like, I got kind of a lisp going, and I've had like breathing problems in the past. I have bad allergies. So like my voice is definitely not my best feature by miles, and there's nothing I can do to control that whatsoever. But that being said, the way that I talk, I can control that. So if I'm having an interaction with somebody and oftentimes it's more how well you're using the tools that you have, right? Like you can have somebody literally be turned on. Maybe it's not necessarily by your voice specifically, but the way you're talking about something, right? I've mentioned this before about the importance of finding what you have in common with a woman and then being able to talk about that subject matter. I've always found that to be very effective, where just the fact that I actually have something to say about what the woman is into, oh my God, huge turn on.
You know,
and it's more about how I express in that communication when we talk about the thing that she's into, how I am able to like get into that topic. Like, it's not like I hurry up and rush out to little factoids about whatever show or book or series or movie or music. It's about maintaining that conversation for the right amount of time, not like talking about it forever, because you don't want the woman to feel like you're more into what she's into than she is, because then that's just going to come across as a little weird, even if you're better at talking than she is, and maybe you just have that more nerdy side to you where you can nerd out. It's kind of like she calibrates the interaction in how much it is that you nerd out, right? Because the second she's not actively nerding out with you in the conversation, then you have to kind of stop nerding out. You have to find an exit point to that subsection of that conversation, right? So say you're like on a first date with a woman. That date is going to consist of all these little conversations. And some of those you're going to utilize to get to know them, and also to learn what they're into. And then from there, it kind of like naturally leads into conversing about what they're into. Once you finally stumble upon something that both of you are into, you both then talk about it. And that particular portion of the conversation, once it dies, you have to let it die. And you have to have an exit strategy for that conversation. You're like, all right, and kind of like put your closing words, your final touch, the cherry on top of that conversation, which usually just involves like quickly spurting out your feelings as like, oh, that's the best show ever of this type of show, or oh, that's the best show, like this character is the best character ever. Because that will still get the point across that you have way more to say about that topic, but it's going unsaid, right? That will make the person want to meet up with you again in the future to continue that conversation on where it left off about something that they're really into. Say, oh, if this person feels so strongly about No Face and Spirited Away, they probably have other opinions about that movie and maybe other anime that I'm into, right? So you have to kind of appropriately calibrate. And I don't really have advice on your voice, because you can't change that. Like, you're born with that. It is what it is. But what you can change is the way that you use it. And you do that by considering how much you should be into the conversation you're having, right? Like, engaging your response, right? Like how into the conversation you get, right? Like, say, let's use the show Gilmore Girls, for example. She brings up Gilmore Girls. Say you're on a date, she brings up Gilmore Girls. You can talk about how much you don't like Dean. Alright, now Dean, he's terrible, he's awful, he's the worst of the guys in the show. Just his character ends up being a terrible person by the end. He's cheating on his wife. He's an awful dude, but it's not really worth being passionate about, right? What would make more sense would be to talk about how great Jess is. Now, Jess is another male character. Now, you can get kind of more nerdy about how great Jess is. But even within that, That doesn't mean you like say, that doesn't mean you go on and on about it, right? It's you make like a couple quick points about how awesome Jess is. And then you say, "Oh, Jess is too good for Rory. I'm I'm on team. I'm not picking a team of between Team Jess, Team Dean, and Team Logan. I'm team Jess is too good for Rory." And then you move on. And maybe if she wants to keep talking about the show, she brings up other characters. Or you even sidestep and say, "Hey, I really like Kirk. Like, Kirk is a great comic relief character, and he adds a lot to so many episodes." And then she might be like, "Kirk? Oh, like, because Kirk's really this cringy guy in the show. Like, his character is the town weirdo." So maybe she immediately has a negative response, or just kind of like, it's like, "What, Kirk? Are you kidding me?" Kind of reaction to you saying that you like Kirk. And then you would then, I guess, defend that point by being like, "Well, he's such a great character. He influences the plot. Like, he drives the plot in so many storylines. He's a great supporting character, great comic relief. He's the town weirdo. He's lovable. He's awesome." How do you not love Kirk? How do you not love Jess?
No, there's an element of your voice that you can't really control. Some people have higher pitched voice than others. My voice is very high pitched. And people used to ask me, "What is wrong with your voice?" It's just the way that I talk, right? There's nothing I can really do to change it. But with practice, you can get better at pronouncing things. You can be a little bit more clear in your speech. You can slow down your speech and not talk so fast, which can be really sexy to women. I think slowing your speech down can be really sexy. And,
Oh yeah, that's a great detail that she went into there. And that's what I'm talking about. It's calibrating your voice, the speed, the intensity, the volume, the speed, like, what's I'm thinking of? Like the inflection, right? How animated you are, how much, look what she's doing with her hands right now. She's using her hands to talk for her, right? If you're really like nerding out or like passionate about something, which people do enjoy seeing, as long as it's not too much passion. If you're passionate in conversation, you're probably using hand gestures. Maybe your speech patterns are increasing. But also, what can be just as appealing to somebody is when you like slow things down. You have this like smoothness, this like calmness can be very calming to other people. That's kind of what I do, is I jump between having those intense conversations where like allowing yourself to get excited and like actually enjoy things is super critical, right? Like you having that clear joy within you is going to make other people feel joy, right? But also having that like slower, cynical aspect to you is going to make people feel comfortable as well, and or turned on, or whatever you're going for. It's why I say have a plan. Which version of you are you representing in that moment, right? Like, does this moment call for you to be smooth, right? Like, there's times to be like excited and nerding out, and you're having this passionate, loud, fast conversation, but there's other times where you're relaxing, right? And you're soft and you're smooth, and it's all situational, and you can increase your conversation skills in exactly those ways by just getting better at it, by getting better at like reading the situation and what version of you is needed right now to get the end results you need, right? And a lot of people, like say Skippy the Virgin. Skippy the Virgin harps on he doesn't want to have sex until he gets married, which is fine, but he should start doing things that turn women on, because nothing will be more reliable at getting a woman to have like romantic feelings for you than allowing her to build those romantic feelings for you. And part of that is being turned on. That's a key aspect that you can't just remove from relationships and getting to know somebody and building attraction. You can't just eliminate the physical and emotional responses that people have. Like, that's how Skippy, that's how you're gonna get married one day, is you start out and you start doing things that make the woman attracted to you. You have to. And part of that is them being turned on and having some kind of like that attraction that you feel towards women. You need them to feel that towards you. And you can't just hope that through random luck that's going to happen. Nothing happens, not too many things happen through luck in life, right? Like, yeah, if you take a bunch of risks, then yeah, maybe your life is ruled by luck. But for most people, for the most part, it is not. Like, things aren't left up to luck. There isn't. If you're really struggling with talking to women, meeting women, it's everything to do with you and not to do with luck. It's a skill thing, not a luck thing.
Things correctly, or just honestly expanding your vocabulary as well, I think can be an element here that kind of takes it up a notch. Yeah, I think there's more to the.
Yeah, a lot of people mistake vocabulary and speed of talking for intelligence. And it definitely is not intelligence, but it fools so many people, and that would work. That would absolutely work, right? Not saying you need, not saying it's, not saying you should ever be deceptive towards anyone. Never do that. But you could kind of get better at speaking, and that's going to translate to people thinking you're more intelligent than you are. But just understand that might kind of, that effect isn't going to last forever, but you don't necessarily need it to. But I guess it could last forever, because some people still, throughout their life, still think that somehow is intelligence, even though it's not.
This one than just a professional speaking.
And women are very, very attracted to intelligence. Like, wildly attracted to intelligence. It's, if I was to make a top 5 of what women are attracted to and just put out like general characteristics, number 1 would be being funny. Number 2 would be being intelligent. And you can fake being intelligent real easily. Not saying that you should do that, but I'm saying it is very easy to fake.
Voice, but I do think a voice can be really attractive, and there are things that you can do to improve this about yourself.
2 examples of that are Ben Shapiro and the streamer Vosh. Both of them talk really fast and use a lot of big words, but they never say anything. Like, they're always beating the same tiny drum. They're never saying anything new. Especially Vosh. Like, that guy just goes on and on and on. It's like he's constantly, eternally having this debate with himself, and he always loses against himself somehow, because himself can't help but to just throw out straw man arguments on repeat. And like, people actually think this guy's smart, and he's one of the dumbest people.
And improve the areas that kind of surround your voice as well, in terms of slowing down your speech, the way you pronounce things, your vocabulary, all that. The next one is, I love a guy who is charitable. Whether he gives time, his money, or both, it's a major turn on. Yeah, I agree. I think this is super sexy.
Well, that's more about being like a leader, right? You get that same effect from just any kind of leadership. So I could totally see that. Which you can show just by simply like taking care of your family and friends. This is the real disconnect. When women say that these nice guys aren't really nice guys, this is what they mean. Being a nice guy, a genuinely nice guy, means you have your shit together and you uplift others, right? And this kind of leadership is what they're talking about. This being charitable, they're really talking about like leadership and helping others. Which giving money is like, they don't give a shit about that, really. They don't. It's all about like time and effort. And they don't want a guy who's like giving up all of his time, because they want your time, right? If they're interested in you, they want your time, not for all your time to be occupied with other crap, right? But if you can give a tiny bit of time and give direction towards other people, and you're willing to help out friends and family in small ways, oh yeah, that's a crazy big turn on for women.
Major turn on. Yeah, I agree. I think this is super sexy. It's that altruism that women tend to find very attractive. I think that's why a lot of women are into men in uniforms, whether it be military, fireman, whatever it is, but a guy who volunteers, a guy who helps people.
And that's another form of leadership, right? Because say you have those skills, like firefighting, emergency response, that means that in those situations where it's really important to make the right decisions and not be afraid and be brave and bold, that you have that skill to be able to do that. That if an emergency pops up, then not only are you going to be pulling your own weight, but you're going to be pulling the weight of other people, and you're going to be like directing people and taking charge. Of course, women are super attracted to that. Why wouldn't they be? Like, everybody should have those skills. If there's a way, if you ever as a man or a woman, anyone, if in your life you have the chance to get some training on emergency response of any kind, you should absolutely take it, because it doesn't matter who you are, you could be in this situation at any point. Stuff could go wrong at any point. One of the most common ways for people to pass away is a car accident. 1 in 250 people pass away due to a car accident. That means that whoever's watching this, you've definitely met more than 250 people in your life. You know people who have passed away due to a car accident. There's a good chance you will be in a car accident at some point in your life, or you'll see one, or whatever. And having that ability to help out, to potentially save somebody's life, it's huge. It's honestly like very undervalued. Like, yes, a lot of people appreciate it, but I just feel like more people should have access to that type of training, because it's important. Now that's complicated because a lot of people just don't have it in them to begin with.
Need a guy who holds open the door for you, a guy who helps an elderly man cross the street. I mean, this can look so different. It doesn't have to be just you donating money to things. It can be giving your time or just being kind, right? I think altruism is sexy, and I totally agree. And I think the element here is, what can you do for people, or what do you do for people who don't do anything for you? It's really about being kind. Hearing someone whisper the F word under their breath. I don't know about that one. Again, I think that's one where like you have to be attracted.
Yeah, that's incredibly weird.
To the person.
Don't pay attention to that one.
Anything they would whisper under their breath would then be attractive. Maybe not if they said something really weird, but you get the point. People who love theater. It's a must for anyone I'm going to date, and it's a nice bonus with friends.
That is so weird. Don't pay attention to that one either.
Yeah, I think this one is a personal preference, but again, these are things that turn people on, and even though there are some things that I think could be pretty universal,
I'd probably advise you don't get into theater. Like,
some common ground that a lot of us could agree on.
if you're just hoping, if you're getting into it just to try to like turn women on, probably not the call.
Turn-ons.
I love theater.
And
Like I like theater.
To things also is very subjective.
I've seen
it's
plays,
very individual and very personal.
musicals.
And what one girl likes, another may not. You know, it's not really a turn-on for me personally if a guy likes theater, but I could see how if a girl was really into that, how that would be a turn-on to her.
Yeah, she's exactly right. If it's that, whichever specific woman wrote that, oh yeah, that's her biggest turn on, flat out. If she's into that, get into that. If she's so into theater that it's her biggest turn on, then simply talking to her, meeting her, learning some basic things about her, you're gonna realize that about her real quick. Like, she probably brings up theater to nearly every person she talks to, right? So you need to pick up on that and adjust to it. And you can buy yourself time, right? Because say you're not into theater and she brings it up. Just say you like it. Just say you like theater. You like plays, you like musicals, you like whatever. And then after that date, between that and the second date or whatever, look up some stuff about theater. Go see a show. Like, actually check out what it is that this other person's super into. You don't have to like obsess about it, make your life about it, but dabble a little bit.
If she's into it and she wants a guy to be, to each their own. Hugs from behind where he nuzzles his face into the crook of your neck. That's so hot. Yeah, I want to make this clear. Don't just like walk up to a girl and do this, right? You want to have some rapport established. You want to have a connection built. I think this one is for when you're actually seeing someone, right? Like, you're in the talking stages, you're dating, you're in a relationship. Don't just do this to a stranger. I want to make that clear, but yes, very sexy. A hug from behind just makes you feel, I don't know, it's like kind of mysterious because they're behind you, and it just makes you feel safe and caressed and protected. Yeah, so I agree with that one. The next one is morning voice. Love. Again, it's that like raspiness and the effortlessness of when you first wake up in the morning. I know a lot of women are into like bedhead, and I think just the way that a man looks when he wakes up, because it's so effortless.
I don't know what she means by effortless.
And it's like he's just sexy without trying. Again, would probably need to be attracted and very into this person. But yes, voices in.
I think that has more to do with like people's biology, right? Because like guys get morning wood. I assume women get a similar effect where they're just, you know, they're feeling kind of good, they're well rested, their body is literally turning back on. So that includes some other stuff too. It's probably heavily to do with that.
In general, morning voice, yes.
So it could actually be a heads up play if you're, say you're in this like flirtatious pursuit of a woman where you're not, where things are progressing but you're not really dating. Maybe you're like still young and you're like partying, right? Or some crap like that. If you could be in a situation that leads to, say you go out and you're flirting with each other, maybe you kiss a little or something like that, but it's not like we're gonna sleep in the same bed type of vibe. If you, what I'm trying to get across is you could wait, instead of making that big move, instead of going to score at night, maybe you play it cool and you don't do that, and you not necessarily make a move in the morning, but you make a move in the morning, right? Like you continue to be your flirty fun self in the morning, and this turn on right here plays to your benefit, and you've built a lot of attraction by not making it a do or die situation, by going for the home run before the night's over, right?
It's such a turn on when someone texts you to make sure you got home safely. Yes, totally agree. Text her after a date and say, hey, I had a great time. Let me know when you make it home.
No. This is one of the rare cases that I'd actually love to mention. It's sometimes women can't help but give weird, terrible advice to men on pursuing women. Like, this is totally fine if you're in a relationship, and I hope she says that. Otherwise, don't do this. You go out on a date with a chick, like first or second date, do not text her this, did you let me know when you get home safe? No, that's absolutely not what you should be doing. No way at all. You should be waiting till the next day, maybe even 2 days, to text back.
If she's into you, that will be the cherry on top of a perfect evening. Love. It shows that you're a gentleman. It shows that you care.
If
that
she's
you're
in a
worried about her
relationship with
safety.
you, yes.
Women love that.
Otherwise,
someone
no.
who actually holds eye contact with you while speaking and genuinely looks interested in.
Which advice like that, where it's like they're already in a relationship with you, that's meaningless, right? Like, that's just doing nice things as a boyfriend. If you're actively seeking this information, like if you've made it to this point in the video, then you are struggling with finding a girl. You are, right? And then therefore that tip is basically useless, because you're just trying to get to the point where you're in a relationship to where that tip would be useful. You got other stuff to focus on.
In what you're saying. Yes. Being an active listener, paying attention, making eye contact, having the other body language signs that you're interested and engaged. Yes.
Definitely get into the conversations that she wants to get into. People have these little tells, like in poker, where they can't help but get excited, and they express it through body language and like their facial expression, whether or not they're looking to dial into this conversation, meaning like they want to really get into it and have a good conversation. You can learn to pick these things up, and then you will start getting into the conversations that you know they want to get into. Sometimes you won't even know about the topic, but you can ask. They bring up a topic you don't know, you know very little or nothing about it. Just start asking about it. Ask them what's their favorite of that particular topic. What's their favorite aspect of that particular topic? And then you gotta kind of ask questions and lead the conversation right back to them, so it's not your perspective being given if you don't know about that topic, right? But you can still express interest in that topic and get excited for them. Be excited and engaged in the conversation, even if you know nothing about it.
Eye contact can also be very flirty. It can be used as a way to build sexual tension, sexual attraction. Body language packs a punch. I've done videos about this, so go watch them. Next one says, it's such a turn on when someone talks about something they're passionate about. Their eyes light up and they get genuinely excited to share their knowledge. It gives me butterflies every time. Yeah, and what you're interested in and what a woman...
Exactly what I've been saying. It turns women on like crazy. Actually caring enough to be like passionate about something and really nerding out and dialing in and being like, no, this is one of the best shows ever because of this reason, because of that reason, right? And comparing it to other stuff. Like, I call Naruto the Game of Thrones of anime. And it is. And even with the crappy ending, even with the similarly, just like the Night King is heavily built up to, and then he does some cool stuff, then his demise is lame. Same thing with Madara in Naruto. Like, they spend all this time building up two of the baddest villains ever to be seen on screen, just for them to be quickly off screen in an undeserved lame way. And people love that stuff. People love to hear that. People love to see somebody get excited about what they're into, you know, because then it kind of lets the other person know, like, whatever you're into, it's okay for you to be into the things that you're into. Like, maybe you're into, I don't know, what's The Bachelor or 90 Day Fiance. So if I'm here nerding out about, let's say, the show Survivor, right? Competition reality show, a woman's typically going to feel real comfortable talking about how much she loves the show The Bachelor. And there's some crossover there, right? There's some commonalities in the reality TV landscape, right? And even 90 Day Fiance, like, that show is enormous. Definitely watch that show for some of the best cringe and failed dating you'll ever see. But women love it for those exact reasons too. And if you just know who they're talking about, if you just watch enough of that show to be familiar with the characters, whether it be Colt or like Big Ed, or I can't think of the other people on that show, but I'm not going to describe them physically, because that's how I know who most of them are. It's through some kind of physical description or something about their partner, or little tiny moments that they have on the show. But if you can dabble in stuff that women are heavily into, then you're very easily going to make them feel comfortable to open up about what they're nerdy about, which will allow them to get excited and nerd out and tell you what they're into. So this one is absolutely incredible. I think this is easily the most important one so far. And it doesn't just have to be like a tiny little piece of entertainment or whatever that you're into. It can be like whatever you're passionate about. Like, maybe it's helping people, maybe it's changing things for the better, or there's so many tiny things that you could be passionate about. And it's important to find those passions in life. I'll tell you a quick story, right? So I as a kid, I loved, in school, I really liked math. Math to me was just wonderful. I wasn't passionate about it, but I really liked the subject. I get to high school and I took every math class that they offered. I took a lot of math in high school. And I took chemistry. I took biology, didn't really like it. But even in college, I just loved math. Math. I love it. I definitely love it. I'm not passionate about it. My job, where I work in like STEM, guess what? There's some math, but it's not ultimately my passion, right? This science thing, this math thing, this, like, I don't want to, unless I'm going to like change the industry, which I'm not, right? Like, what am I going to change the chemical industry? That's not going to happen, right? And that's not something I would even necessarily want to do, right? But there are things I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about entertainment. I'm passionate about like movies and entertaining people, putting a smile on people's faces, and or changing their life, changing their perspective, making people happy, giving people the tools to make themselves happy, right? There's a huge variety of things. So, yeah, I make a lot of money in my job. But you know what I would like to do instead? I would like to do this. I would like to make YouTube videos. I would like to, and there's some, you could call it selfish reasons there. I want an easier job where I work less, right? Like the time it takes to travel to and from work 5 days a week and then be there for most of the day, that sucks. I'd rather be working from home, spending more time with my family and friends, and you know, and not only that, but it would free up time to focus on my other passions in entertainment, which involves helping other people make films, make their own YouTube videos, make short films, do photography, do all these different awesome creative ventures, right? Like that stuff, that's what I'm really passionate about, is making all these like cool projects, right? And that's what I hope that this YouTube channel turns into eventually, is I get to do some of those creative projects myself, and like do those projects I want to do, and also help people do the projects they want to do. That's what I'm passionate about. That's way better than going and working for some company and making some like random millionaire who lives nowhere near me, who I'm never gonna meet, more money, right? Like making some corporation more money. I want to make myself more money, and I want to have more time to help other people realize their dreams, and more time I can spend helping other people. That's just me though. That's what I'm passionate about. And if I'm usually, when I'm talking to somebody about that, I can get really excited and really intense about it. I'm not too excited about it right now because I mean, it's nighttime right now and I worked today and I'm worn out. You might be able to hear it in my voice, but I am tired. My throat's dry. Well, let's see what the next one is.
Time. Yeah, and what you're interested in and what a woman finds attractive that you are interested in is going to vary depending on the woman. We're all into different things. We all have different preferences. We all have different interests. But I think watching a man talk about something that he's really passionate about or interested in, even if I don't necessarily like what he's talking about, I like watching him love talking about it. Women want to see that you're passionate.
Sorry, my mic was muted. Oh my god, I hope my mic wasn't muted when I was talking a bit ago. Yikes. I think it was. Terrible. Terrible.
Women want to see that you have things that you enjoy. Women want to see that you're knowledgeable about a topic, that you are interested in things, that you're a lifelong learner, that you're curious. And when you talk about something you're passionate about, when you're sharing knowledge, when you're showing your interest and passion, women are so drawn to that, and it's incredibly sexy. So I agree. Humor. There's nothing sexier than someone making me laugh. Self-explanatory. Women love a guy.
Oh yeah, definitely, no question about it. Clear.
Make them laugh.
Best thing you could ever do.
A universal.
Learn how to tell a funny story. Learn how to tell a decent joke, right? There's a reason that in one of the most popular internet and even real life genres of joke to get highlighted in the last like 10 years is the dad joke, because they're dry and they're straightforward and they're cheesy and they're hilarious. Like, people love dad jokes because they're really funny, and their cheesiness increases the funniness. People are understanding different forms of humor now than they ever did before, and they're finding more things funny than they ever did before. Capitalize on it, baby.
Known thing. I don't know a single girl who says, I want to date a guy who is serious all the time and isn't funny. I think humor is important. For me, I'm always attracted to men with a strong sense of justice and an excellent moral compass. It's so sexy when someone shows compassion and will fight for justice. Yeah, I think a man who can stand in his own and who is firm in his beliefs and has morals and values that align with yours is really sexy. It shows that you're a leader. It shows that you're passionate about the things that you care about, and I think women really like that. It makes you come across as someone who is reliable and who has integrity, which I think is really a positive thing. Men in jogging pants, especially with the cuff at the end.
Yeah, that's real weird. I mean, I get it. I've seen memes and stuff about this. But the cuffs at the
Yeah, a
end?
lot of women are really into the athleisure look. I even really like when my husband wears this kind of stuff.
I always wear this kind of stuff. It's just my natural style. And, I mean, I do well. I'll put it that way. I'm not struggling in the woman department.
Only dresses like that when we go to the gym, but
It makes
he
me
wears like a t-shirt
it makes me uncomfortable to say that, but I mean, it's true.
with joggers and a little cuff at the end with his little running shoes, and he just looks so cute. Yeah, I love that. At the gym, I love a man in athleisure when it's appropriate.
I get a surprising amount of compliments on my butt. Like, I'm not wearing like these tight sweatpants or anything, but I get compliments on my butt. Not like cat call style compliments, but you know, if things are starting to turn flirtatious and a woman's particularly a go-getter in that aspect, I get compliments on my butt. It's weird. I don't know why, but it happens.
Right? Make sure you dress appropriately for the situation that you're in. I wouldn't recommend wearing joggers to a fancy restaurant, right? But if you're going to the gym, if you're running...
I mean, I do that. I definitely wear that stuff to a fancy restaurant. I do not give a crap. I have no... I care about my comfort. I do care about other people's comfort, like the people that I'm specifically with, but like, I do not care at all about like dress code or like dressing fancy for an event. I hate that stuff. I'm just gonna wear what's comfortable. If I can get away with it, get away with wearing like sweatpants and a hoodie everywhere, I will. I don't care. I've gone to like fancy events, not like high-end big city New York level events, fancy like yuppie stuff, but I've gone to like some stuff where people are wearing suits and dresses and all this stuff, and the times where I'm going and I'm just wearing sweatpants and a hoodie, oh yeah, that's great. That's way better.
Super sexy. When they run their hands through their hair, yeah, it's that effortlessly sexy thing that I talked about. You just look cool when you're doing that. Witty banter is such a turn on. The sexual tension there is always astronomical. Yes. And this is really going to come down.
That just goes hand in hand with humor and being funny. Being witty is just being quicker with it. And it's like a different style, but it's the same thing. I'd say work on being witty before working on being funny. It sounds weird because they're like the same thing, but they are kind of different.
Down to, are you compatible?
Which a lot of times can just be like teasing, simple teasing back and forward. Like, just like you should be willing to self-deprecate or whatever. You should also be able to do that in the context of a couple. And it's fine to do that immediately, right? Be like, oh, well, we look like a bunch of jackasses, something like that, or like, it's hard to explain.
And do you have a connection with the person you're talking to? You're not always going to have that witty banter or that humor between the two of you, but when a guy's able to do this, women love it. Also, paying attention to small details and being able to turn a small detail into an inside joke between the two of you, so sexy. Women melt over that. Trust me, guys. It's so hot when someone readjusts their glasses in a natural, not trying to be sexy way. Yeah, I love a man in glasses. I'm a little bit biased because my husband wears glasses. That's one thing I love about him. I think glasses are sexy. You look educated, you look studious, intelligent. I just love glasses. And yeah, when they push them up.
I mean, I've never thought about it in this way, but I started wearing glasses around the age of 20, and my I I can't be correlated because I did fine before I wore glasses, and I've done fine ever since. So it probably doesn't matter, but I definitely I agree with this one. Like, I believe it. Huh.
Oh, love. That won't be for every woman. Not every woman likes glasses, but me, I'm a fan. I really love a good smile. Hot damn, I will get all hot and tingly if someone has a really nice smile. Yeah, and you know, even if you don't have the best teeth in the world, I think just smiling, right? Showing that you're happy.
Personally, I hate my smile. I think I've got two things going against me. Two big things going against me. One is my voice, and the other is my smile. Like, I just don't have a good smile. I don't know what it is. It just isn't good. But I realize that, and I adjust. And the way I adjust is doing this, like, tiny smirk. Like, it's there and gone, right? Like, think of how much people will take selfies, and you get the impression that they took a ton of selfies to get, like, the perfect angle. I've never done that 'cause I just don't do that, but much in the same way, you do that, but in a real-time basis, you realize, hey, my smile isn't very good. There's something just awkward about my face when I smile. But I can give a little half smirk, but I do it in, like, a glancing, passing way. So I treat it like it's an attack. Like, all right, I got a bad smile, so I got to do this, like, semi smirk, and it has to be, like, there and gone. And it's just like hitting somebody with a smile, with, like, a big, nice, couple seconds long smile or a 1 second long smile. It's just different. It's just delivered differently to adjust for my shortcomings. It's just a quick semi smirk there for a split second, and it's gone, and I'm probably, like, turning my body or something, or moving my hand over my face, like, kind of like naturally changing positions. And also the hand over the face. Like, I love resting my elbow on something and then putting the hand over the face and smiling and laughing, because the person gets that, like, overall facial expression, and they get all that good feeling of being smiled at, but without experiencing the goofiness that is my smile.
But also,
I just have a derpy face when I smile.
Women like a guy who is more like, has a stern look rather than smiling. There was a study done with dating apps, and the men who were smiling in the photos didn't get as many matches as the men who were not. Now, I think there's some variables there to consider. Were the men who were smiling less attractive than the ones who were more stern?
Personally, I'm very stern. Like, I have resting bee face for sure, and I've always found that to be an advantage. Some guys just have a great smile, and, I mean, rock it if you got it. But I can totally believe that guys with a straight face would do way better than guys who are smiling in their pictures. I've never, like, checked out guys like dating profiles at all, but I can see why having that more seriousness to you is gonna make you do better, because it kind of tells a lot, right? Like, people aren't going to assume just because you have a serious face that you're somebody who never likes to have fun, or is a Karen, or is overly intense. Especially guys, right? Like, guys in general love to goof around and be ridiculous. So most women will already detect that underlying, actually fun, funny, easygoing vibe you have, even if your initial impression is this intensity. They know there's more underneath. So being stoic is it's just as good as smiling. Don't let people tell you that you need to like smile all the time, because you don't.
Looking, of course, there's some nuance there, but I think a lot of women are really into guys who have nice teeth and a nice smile. If you're someone who does not, just work with the cards you've been given, right? Not all of us have perfect teeth, and there are things you can do to improve your smile and your teeth that are relatively affordable. It's such a turn on when people send you songs, memes, pictures, or anything that...
I also have just like a weird... Yeah, I just don't have a good song. I don't know if it's as bad as I think that it is, but just do some little like just change up your tactics if you're like self-conscious about your smile, and covering the face, semi-covering the face is super easy. I mean, it's fine to smile even if you think your smile's not the greatest, but do it in like small doses, right? Like, you should be telling jokes and having a good time, so there should be natural like laughing and smiling going on, but keep it to a minimum of like, I'm not saying as soon as you laugh and joke around and a smile arises that you need to like stiffen your face and like change it instantly, but if you're self-conscious about your smile like I am, just don't let it like linger. That's served me well. And that's what this is all about, guys. Like, I want to allow you the opportunity to learn through my experiences and my perspectives, because I never had that, right? Like, nobody ever really ran through any of these ideas with me. Granted, there was stuff like this on YouTube. Not exactly the kind of style that I do. I go in like insane detail on the tiny things. Kind of like she is, but I'm willing to dive deep and talk about it for like 30 minutes on one tiny thing.
Made them think of you.
And
again, showing that you pay attention to small
to
details and that you're thinking
Including
of someone.
I want to improve.
Is
I guess.
just a great feeling when you're talking to someone and they send you something that reminded them of you. Love that.
Oh yeah. If you're like pursuing somebody and you can send them something that, no, I'm not saying like seek out the perfect meme or the perfect whatever to send them to make them laugh and connect to something that happened, but if you like stumble upon something that's reasonable to stumble upon, like say you were talking about, I don't know, water fountains in people's houses, and you walk by a house and somebody has a water fountain in their front yard, yeah, you can take a picture of it and send it to the person, and they're gonna really appreciate that, because it's like, oh, it's a good way to like not be creepy, but you're walking a fine line, because you don't want to make it seem like you search for this. You won't really need it to come across as though this just naturally happened, which is the only time you'd ever really use this, right? You'd be like, oh my god, we were just talking about that book, and here's that book. I just walked across this, like there's somebody reading it in public, or something that directly connects it. You should never be like seeking it out or doing like creepy crap like that, but if you can connect those dots, you're gonna make a woman feel real special and happy. If you can, in a kind of like a tactile, like something where there's some real kind of, I guess, weight, kind of reality to it, to remembering something about them and showing that you have like thought about them and that something reminded you of them.
Consistency is sexy. It's nice when people regularly show up for you when they say they will. Yeah, be a man who follows through, a man with integrity. Women like to feel safe and secure, and like they can rely on you. You say you're gonna do one thing and you do enough. A good voice is a great turn on. Yeah, you know, women love a guy who is in a band or the lead singer.
Yeah, that's
or who gets up on
that's
stage
weird
and has a
though,
great
because
singing voice.
either you
Elvis
have it or
Presley
you
was
don't.
great looking, but his singing voice.
So
When
not
someone
too
laughs super hard,
important.
accidentally snorts, and then catches themselves in embarrassment. Oh my gosh, I do that. Yeah, I would say if you're into someone, little quirky things they do become really attractive because you just like them and you think they're attractive and you like the little quirks that make them not perfect. I think so many people approach dating trying to be perfect when in reality, sometimes it's your imperfections that are actually the most attractive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You gotta just roll with what happens, roll with the vibe, expect the unexpected. Things are going to things being weird and awkward, and overcoming that, it happens actively while you're on the date. And it's happening to the woman as well. Like, you have to understand that this is a two-sided thing, and you're in it together in these situations, and you have to kind of treat it as such. So if something awkward happens, if something weird happens, either you choose to not address it, but sometimes addressing it can be fun, and it can lead into that being witty and joking around stuff we talked about earlier.
Things. But yeah, I think that's really cute. But again, I think that's one of those things where you have to be attracted to the person in order for something like that to be cute. A man eating an apple, don't know why, just I don't know if I agree with that. I don't like hearing people chew, so I don't think I'm on board with that one. But I guess it's probably like the way that they eat it in their hand, like because you're seeing their hand and they're holding it up to their mouth. I'm like trying to picture it in my head now, and I believe it has something to do with the way that it's being held up to their mouth. The hand, the way they're eating it, yeah. I really love seeing someone
I think that apple thing is just a body language thing. Like, you can give off an incredibly cool vibe by eating an apple. If you're doing it in a way that like expresses that you're comfortable and you're like cool. Oh yeah, I guess I could see it. But like, you probably don't want to be super close. They probably don't want to hear you munching it.
Patient with kids, especially if it just comes naturally to them. Yep. Shows a nurturing side to you and that you would probably be a good father, which women are attracted to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
For some reason, I think it's kind of sexy to watch someone drive a stick shift car. Yes, and just there are so many things you do in the car that can be sexy. Putting your hand on the seat, looking back when you reverse, one hand on the wheel. Of course, drive safely, okay? Don't be reckless. That's another thing, driving safely. But yeah, someone who can drive a stick shift, it's just like the way their hand is on the gear. Is that what it's called? I don't even know. I can't drive a stick shift. I think that's another thing too. So many people can't drive a stick shift now that if you can, it's pretty sexy because it's more rare. Wrists and forearms are such a turn on.
Again, that goes into the just purely ridiculous territory of women are just into so many things. It's turning them on is so easy.
Especially if
so often you literally don't need to do anything. You just need to be there. You just need to exist, and they're going to be turned on. Women aren't that different from men.
Someone touches my wrist and forearms in a tender way. Yeah, in terms of a man's wrist and forearm, roll your sleeves up. This is why I tell you to roll your sleeves up on your button downs so that we can see your forearm, because women melt over that. They love it. Pop a watch on your wrist. You're golden. And if you touch my wrists and forearms in a tender way, yeah, I think physical touch is something that can really build.
I never thought about it, but that watch thing could work. I hate wearing a watch. I never wear a watch. It's terrible, but it could work. I mean, for me personally, I've got like really nice, not like muscular necessarily, but like I got some nice forearms and hands. Like, my forearms like lead really nicely into my hands, if that makes sense. I got really nice hands. And the forearms highlight them, compliment them quite a bit. But yeah, I could see a watch being a really good choice if that isn't the case. If you don't have great hands, but it would just take my hands over the top. Or maybe it would distract. I don't know. Maybe the focus would be on the watch and not on the hands.
Build sexual tension. Even though it's not really sexual, it can build that between two people.
It's funny that hands have been mentioned multiple times in this. Like men, you need to really think about what the title of this video is. 34 women reveal their biggest turn-ons. Their biggest. Like, what gets them going more than anything? And a lot of it is to do with like hands. Eating an apple. Your like forearm. Your forearm, like, literally one was just hands. Like, it's so much to do with hands. It's crazy. I didn't even expect this much hand action, but holy crap.
People and just physical contact in general, whether it's, touching her shoulder, touching her arm, touching her leg. Of course, once you build a connection and rapport there, again, not telling you to touch a stranger. Don't do that. I've had people do that to me. I don't like it. But yeah, non-sexual touching.
Everything's to do with the hands, man. So definitely keep, like she said, and she said this in other videos, to like take good care of your fingernails. That is super important. Why are any guys out there? You should have like no fingernail, like the white part, the part that you cut with clippers. No guy out there should have any of that basically ever, unless you actually have a reason, like you actively scratch something off of something with your fingernails. You should not be having fingernails. Like, your hands should be clean, unless you like work with stuff and there's a reason for your hands to be all jacked up. But it just goes to show that there are these traits about you that you've never even considered, that women are super, super into. And several of these had to do with just being funny, right? Overall, what you're getting from this video, and hopefully they're just laid out in a list at the end. I doubt that's what's going to happen in this video, but just categorize them, make them a list. You'll see humor and hands are the biggest things.
Can still be a turn on. I love when someone knows what they want and they go for it. Not in an aggressive way, but in an...
And wearing, like, driving a stick shift or wearing jogging pants, wearing sweatpants. Like, guys act like women are so shallow these days, and like they're never gonna date you unless you're like rich and some gym bro who's like super aggressive. And that's not the case at all. They would much rather a quiet, funny guy who's super laid back, who's willing to show some hand. That's all they want. That's all they're asking for. That's all you need to be. Stop overcomplicating it. Stop listening to these people who get you so down, whether it's men or women, who are telling you you need to have all these things and be all these things. Dude, you just need to be chill and fun and show some hand every now and again.
An assertive and positive way. Yeah, a guy who goes after what he wants. It shows confidence, it shows drive, passion. Love that. There's something so freaking sexy about someone who has mastered an instrument and can play beautiful music. Yeah, like I said before, a guy playing the guitar, a guy playing the piano.
Whether it's that, or earlier when they talked about like enjoying what you're talking about and engaging in conversation, same thing goes for being a musician. It's being into something, being really into something, being into something like those things. It's being so into music that you're into like creating it. But you can be just as into stuff that you're not creating, just something you're participating in, that you're really passionate about, something you're observing, right? You don't have to be a musician necessarily. You could be just really, really into music And as long as you're passionate about it, you love talking about it, you have like interesting opinions, you have something to say, you have a reason why it's important to you and to the world, and you can communicate that, that's a huge turn on, right? And it can be science that you're into, it can be geology. As long as you're just into something, as long as you have like a life's passion, this life energy, this life force that exudes from you, even if it has to be brought out with you, even if it's not brought out with you until the subject is brought up, that's still so appealing to so many people. And women, men love that too. Like, men love that in women.
Love, because it's showing that you are good at something, that you have a skill, and that makes you look like a good partner.
But these negative men out there who aren't into anything besides basking in their own loneliness, who just have no personality to speak of, who just complain and make themselves into the victim and blame society for everything and blame women for everything. Like, that's why you're super unattractive, is you don't have any hobbies, you don't have any ambitions, you don't have any passions in your life. If all you care about is acquiring a girlfriend and you can't even be bothered to make yourself a tiny bit attractive to a woman, you can't be bothered to care what women are into or see them as people, and your goal is to just hopefully randomly stumble upon one that is just going to be fully committed to you for no reason, like that's pretty bad, dude. That's probably not gonna happen.
Because you have skills. I was watching this prehistoric show the other day, and this is so dumb, but please bear with me. There was one type of dinosaur where, in order to attract a mate, it would hunt a smaller dinosaur and show that it could hunt. And that would be part of its presentation to the female. I know that's kind of a silly comparison, but I think when you watch other species attract a mate, it can actually tell you a lot about the human species too.
I love this topic. I'd like to do a video on it about alpha males, because a lot of people bring up that the original study of alpha males, the alphas in like wolf communities, well, it turned out that the alphas were just the parents. But I find that to be such a dumb thing to say, right? Like, that's unbelievably stupid, because dogs, wolves, like, you see it in smaller doses outside of like animals that are just in their family. Like, even those same animals, even those wolves still encounter other wolves. They're not all one family, right? So sometimes the big animal wins out over the small animal. Happens all of the time. And you see it across so many other animals. The principle is still there. It still holds water. And it's still completely applicable to humans. There are people, there are dudes who are really good at getting what they want in a variety of ways. And there's guys who are terrible at getting what they want and never get what they want. That exists. There are alphas, there are betas. In the animal kingdom, in wolves, and in humans. It's a real thing. Just because wolf packs are typically just families where the leaders are the parents, that doesn't mean anything. Humans are like that too, but guess what? There's still other dynamics at play here. To just dismiss that is so dumb.
And how we like to see that you're capable. We like to see that you have a skill. We like to see that I'm going to be able to count on you. Forehead kisses. There's something so intimate about them. Even if I see someone else get one in public, I can't get it out of my mind. Yes, it's sweet. It's special. It's very intimate, even though it's on your forehead. It just feels very sweet. Agree. It's so attractive when someone is laughing or smiling and their nose wrinkles. Yeah, that's kind of like the laughing and smiling and the snorting thing before. Again, it's just a little quirk about someone that makes, that stands out, that you like them, and that's just something little that you notice.
Simply being able to laugh absolutely goes hand in hand with being laid back, joking around, having a good sense of humor. Being able to laugh, I'm not saying like bust a gut, roll on the floor laughing at every joke that the woman tells, but you should be laughing even if it's a little fake, kind of like you're being very generous with your laugh at what she's saying. You should be like, laughing even if she's not that funny.
This intelligence is sexy, not the pushy kind of intelligence where a person tries to act superior. Agree. But the kind where
that's super important. That's like crazy important. Casually not knowledgeable about something, super critical, right? There's plenty of people who are smart in terms of like book smart. They can remember all this stuff. That's basically what the term book smart is. It's that you have all this knowledge. You're able to store all this knowledge in your brain, but you don't have any way to apply it to anything in reality, right? Whereas someone who's street smart always has a way to apply any bit of knowledge into the real world. So when that person gains knowledge, it's way more valuable than somebody who's just an encyclopedia who knows all these things, but their life's just a disaster. No one's impressed by that. No one cares about how many degrees you stacked up. Yeah, okay, you have a bunch of debt. Good for you. They care way more about how you applied that to your life, and you just, when you're like have this braggy, entitled attitude because of your intelligence, it really heavily displays your lack of intelligence, because it shows. And I hate talking about social intelligence because people do that really cringy phrase of like emotional intelligence, which emotional intelligence is a thing and it's valuable, but that's mostly just to do with self-control. It's kind of like a different but similar like douche intelligence, where it's like, okay, you have a better storage capacity in your brain than me. Who cares, right? Like, for example, somebody can sit there and be infinitely better at school than I am, right? They can get straight A's easily. But guess what? I'm way better at so many things than that person. So for them to like act superior to me is crazy. Because in so many situations, those people are just outsmarted, outclassed, proven to be chumps. Like, exactly, just be chill, right? Like, people are going to enjoy it so much more if they don't know that you're intelligent right away. If they don't know that you're this like kind, charitable person. If they get the privilege to like uncover that about you, if they have to dig a little deeper to see that in you, they're going to appreciate it so much more, because they understand that there's more to you than what they first saw. Not saying that what they first see in you should be nothing, or it should be like hidden or entirely mystery, but there should be some mystery.
Someone is just casually knowledgeable about something. Yes, speaking about something that you're passionate about or that you're knowledgeable about, so sexy. It shows that you're curious.
Like people, for example, people get blown away. People get blown away by stuff I say. I can tell them my viewpoint on different scientific principles, and they're like, holy crap, like, you know a lot about this. Like, this is crazy. You just like pulled that out of nowhere. It's like, yeah, well, I don't know. I like looked into it for years and years and years. And they're like, holy, like that's impressive. But it's like never something that I bring up. It's always something that they get out of me through it being like relevant to whatever we're talking about. Or when people find out that I am involved with filmmaking, they're like, holy crap, there's this whole other side of you that we never knew about. Like, you're into all of these things when you're also into that thing that very few people are into. That's awesome, and they want to know so much more about it. And the fact that I'm not like openly being like, oh well, I'm involved with filmmaking, I'm a, you know, hoity-toity, high society kind of crap. In fact, I'm quite the opposite.
It shows that you like to learn. It shows that you have
People just appreciate
it shows that you're
right?
Interesting. Agreed. When a guy has good oral hygiene, it goes beyond just having a nice smile. It shows a level of attention and care that really...
And with that prior one, it's all about not being a douche. And not being a douche requires a specific decency that so many people don't have. And if you can just acquire that non-douche quality, because you might have simply never had the opportunity to be a douche. There's a lot of people who are exactly that. The second they get a job where they're making like let's say 60,000 a year, it's like just their douche. It's like they hit the pedal to the metal on this like douche pedal that they had within them all the time. They just needed the excuse to like
strong authentication
to hit the gas to get it going. And it's like, it's comical. It's actually crazy to see how much people can change and just become a total piece of crap. And it's especially funny for somebody like me who grew up poor, struggling, all these issues, and I've never changed. Like, I've changed a little bit. Having money has changed me a little bit. Like I said, I work in STEM. But to see it happen to other people where they just get such this like high, they start riding such this high horse, and they can't even begin to see that that horse isn't even that high, that they're not even really making that much money. Yet they have like this attitude that they're like the top dog, like Andrew Tate says. I'm the top dog. It's like, no, you're not. You're a clown. No one likes you.
Appeals to me. Yeah, I would say even further than oral hygiene, just good grooming habits in general. A guy who cleans up his facial hair, who has a skincare routine, who, you know...
Like, there is genuinely people who think that they are superior to, like, 99% of people. That they're just all that. They're just the coolest person ever because they make 60,000 a year. And it's like, oh my god, I know like hundreds of people who make more than that. It's only your own like limited perspective that makes you think that that is impressive. It is not impressive to anyone, not to any person in existence. But some people will use something like that and then act like they have accomplished as much as like as much as like Jeff Bezos. Like, genuinely, people are like that. Maybe you haven't seen it personally, but I swear they're out there and they're acting an absolute fool.
Trims his nose hairs, who trims his nails, who uses a tongue scraper to get rid of bad breath, and uses mouthwash, brushes his teeth. Yeah, hygiene is so important. Regardless of what you look like, hygiene is like bare minimum.
Yeah. Take a shower, shave if you need to. Like, you have to have an entrance strategy and an exit strategy, and also a communicating during a date or whatever, or an approach, you have to have at least a little bit of a plan thought out. Part of that is just being clean and nice and presentable.
Finally, it's so hot when men drive in reverse and put their arm on the passenger seat headrest. Damn. You've heard it here before. Putting it here, driving in.
I've never done that. I've never done that at all. I guess I'm going to start doing it. I've done it on a forklift. I find it hard to get used to doing it on a forklift because I've never done it in a vehicle, but I'm trying to get used to it. Weirdly, randomly, by chance, I'm trying to get used to doing that because it's supposedly safer. Like, one of my coworkers told me, like, you should be reaching your arm over. I don't know if it's genuinely is safer or if this person's just pulling this out of their ass or somebody told them it, but maybe it is. I don't know. But apparently it turns women on. So screw it. I'm gonna do it.
I rest my case. Yeah, so I know this is kind of
that's a key point that I just made. Is how about you like actually listen to women? Actually take in what they're saying. Right? That's a big problem that men have. Is they're just not listening to what's right in front of them, what's being told to them. Yeah, there was one example of like texting to making sure they got home safe. Like, don't do that, never do that unless you're in a relationship, unless you've got, which means you've gone on like 5+ dates, then do that. But prior to that, no, absolutely not. But everyone other than that, take it in, listen to it, and just do it. Just do that. It's so simple. Why would you not do that? Like, is it that much work to put your hand over the seat when going in reverse? I like using the backup camera on my vehicle, but I'll throw my hand on a seat. I don't care. I can drive with one hand. Sometimes I most of the time I drive with one hand. I just don't bother throwing my other arm over the seat. I've never done it. Usually my other arm's just like resting on the center console or whatever. But hey, you know, I'll adapt. I'll learn. We can all learn.
A more silly and entertaining video, but I thought it would be fun to go through some submissions from other people just to see what people are into. And I think it just highlights the fact that we all are into different things, although, you know, I agreed with a lot of those. I'm sure a lot of other women would as well. It really comes down to the person. And there are so many weird, quirky things that you find attractive about someone when you like them. Or just things that can make someone more attractive that are a little bit shocking and you might not expect. So that's all I have for this one. If you liked it or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't...
I will do that. I will do that right now. I will thumbs up and subscribe, like your videos. And I can't expect you to subscribe to me if I don't subscribe to you. You make really good videos. You are excellent at giving the woman's perspective. This was a fantastic video. This is an incredibly long reaction to your video, as I mean, your video is 20 minutes long. I'm at an hour and a half here, but I like to dive into the little details. And yeah, really good video. Keep it up, Courtney Ryan. Looks like she has a second channel. I wonder what the focus of the second channel is. That is very interesting. It's existed for a month, about as long as my channel has existed. This is my only in one channel. Looks like it's more free-flowing vlog style.
Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan. So today I'm going to be showing you some new purchases that I've got. It feels wrong. Like, what's the point?
Oh yeah, try-on hauls are ridiculous. Like, there's
it is a little bit cropped as well.
There's so many try-on hauls out there getting so many views.
I like. So, I really like the color a lot.
If only guys did this, I would totally be doing this. I'd be doing try-on hauls immediately.
But yeah, I
just
really
because
like
they
this
get
sweater.
so many views.
And it's so versatile. You can wear it under things.
They're so like genuinely useful, right? Because somebody who wants to purchase these clothes, they get to see them on an actual person. Like, there's actual such genuine utility to these videos, and they get tons of views. I'm just kind of skipping around. Courtney Christine Ryan, if that is your real name.
That's the thing also, if you're going to wear this open, you don't want to wear this with other pieces that are also oversized and loose. Like this with a pair of loose.
Should I just keep reacting, guys? Should I just keep going? See how long I can react to a single content creator? 5 hours straight, let's go. No, I'm gonna end the video there. Talk to you later. I'm sure I'll check out more from her in the future.